Welcome to the virtual Clubhouse, everyone. I'm Alicia Greenberg, VP of Membership and Programs at the Advertising Club of New York. On behalf of the Ad Club, our president, Gina Grillo, and our partner company, Ogury, thanks for joining us today for what I know will be another lively conversation in our Inside the Clubhouse series. Today, we're talking about mobile video, and we have great brands with us, Hotels.com, MasterCard, and all the way from Hawaii, we have King's Hawaiian. That's what I love about virtual, is that now we have people from all over that are able to join us. So the Ad Club, we're all about educating, celebrating, and empowering our over 5,000 members. If you're not a member, I encourage you to join us. You can just go to theadvertisingclub.org or write to me. I would love to talk to you. You can do that by writing to me at alicia@theadvertisingclub.org. Our members have access to great programming. Even this month, we have free professional development programming with strong communications. And on May 26th, we have a really important conversation in honor of AAPI Heritage Month with companies, leaders, CMOs from Nielsen, Reckitt, Charles Schwab, IW Group, and Samsung. So please take advantage of that programming and listen in. I want to give a quick shout out to my colleague Meredith Lipson, Charity Renfrew, and Alexander Matthews at Ogury and our team at the club, because without them, we couldn't make these things happen. So without further hesitation, let me introduce you to our partner and moderator for today, Allison Port, Sales Director at Ogury. Over to you, Allison.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join today. And most importantly, thank you to the Ad Club for having us again. I'm Allison Port, Sales Director at Ogury. Today, I'm going to be discussing trends within mobile video advertising. But before I jump into the content, I want to give a quick overview of who Ogury is for those who may be unfamiliar. Ogury is the personified advertising company, creating a breakthrough advertising engine that delivers precision, sustainability, and privacy protection within one technology stack, built and optimized specifically for mobile. Of course, I'm happy to share more about Ogury at a later time for anyone that's interested, but for now, let's hop into it. Today, I'm going to kick it off by sharing an overview of the mobile video landscape. I'll then share some tips and best practices surrounding mobile video advertising. Following the presentation, there will be a virtual chat with Shannon Hadel, Director of Global Brand Media at Hotels.com, Catherine Fowler Ernest, VP of Digital Marketing and Media at MasterCard, and Mike Hazelrig, Head of Omnichannel Marketing at King's Hawaiian. I am super excited for this panel. It's a true all-star lineup. All right, I'm going to start by taking a look at the landscape. Before jumping into mobile video, let's start by looking at the general mobile landscape. Globally, more than 5.27 billion people own a mobile device. Mobile ownership is increasing, and so is time spent on these mobile devices. Since the start of the pandemic, time spent on smartphones has increased 25%, which is more than any other channel and will continue increasing across the year. As more time is spent on mobile, more time thus is spent consuming media. In fact, 34.2% share of time spent with media in 2021 will be on mobile, which is greater than desktop, TV, radio, and print. And within the time spent with media on mobile, mobile video will have the largest increase in consumption. Subsequently, more money is being invested in reaching these audiences. There will be a 24.4% increase in mobile ad spend in 2021, which is more than any other channel, and it will account for almost 50% of all ad spend. And due to the evolving media consumption trends, investment in mobile video advertising will have the largest increase compared to last year, increasing by 35%. The potential to reach audiences on mobile has truly never been greater. Adoption continues to increase, in addition to time spent and media spend. Within the mobile landscape, it's clear that mobile video presents the greatest opportunity for advertisers to reach and engage with their consumers. So let's look into mobile video a little more. Video consumption is increasing rapidly, particularly on mobile. In fact, 63% of all mobile traffic is video, which will grow to 76% by 2025. This presents advertisers with an opportunity to connect with consumers in a meaningful way on their most used device via their preferred media method. In fact, 85% of people want to see more videos from brands in 2021. Mobile video is going to continue being the preferred format for both advertisers and consumers. This presents many opportunities, as well as some pretty significant challenges. One of the greatest challenges that advertisers face is visibility. Unfortunately, on mobile, the majority of advertising looks like this today. As you look at the ad on the bottom of the page, can you tell me which brand you are seeing? You can't, and it's a total waste of money. It also results in limited memorability and poor campaign performance. Advertisers would never pay for half a blank spot on TV, so they shouldn't do it on mobile. This is just one of the challenges. We'll chat about more challenges as well as solutions to overcome these challenges in our panel shortly. But before we kick off our panel, it wouldn't be an Ogury presentation if we didn't share some of our own insights. So I want to quickly give you a sneak peek into some audience personas which are particularly fond of mobile video. But before I do that, I'll first give you an overview of Ogury Active Insights and our custom persona study. Ogury Active Insights is a data and modeling visualization solution, which brings to life Ogury's unique, reliable personification data. This tool provides visual, actionable insights on audience interests, behaviors, and dynamics to inform and optimize advertising strategies. Ogury's custom persona is a study within Active Insights that uncovers the demographic breakdown of specific audiences, plus interests and discriminate behaviors. And that's what I'll be sharing with you. There are so many video audiences we could analyze. Today, I've decided to focus on the video streamer, the video gamer, and the video creator. I pulled a persona study for each of these groups to better understand their nuances. Here is their demographics breakdown. In terms of age, each audience group skewed toward the 25 to 34-year-old bucket. They're pretty similar in terms of gender breakout, with the gamers skewing more male than the other two audiences. And they're slightly younger than the streamers and the creators. Now, let's look at their interests, starting with the streamers. Their top two interest categories relate to entertainment, which are cinema and TV channels. The number listed next to the category reveals how much more likely this audience is to be interested in this category compared to the general population. Their third interest is real estate, and fourth is family activities, indicating that many of these streamers are parents. Looking at the gamers' interests, we can see that they're interested in finance, home security, and business news content, which reveals they're techie and financially savvy. The creators are interested in travel, banking, B2B services, and taxis, indicating they're busy, they're on the go, they got places to be. Now, let's compare their keywords. These keywords represent these personas' discriminate interests. Some keywords that stand out for the streamers include live, radio, and free. This reveals they're also music fans and also like a good bargain. Over to the gamers. Keywords that stood out to me include chat, online, and support. These gamers heavily rely on their mobile phones as they game. Finally, the creators' keywords that stood out include editor, trim, and deposit. These creators rely on their mobile phones to support their video creations as well as manage their finances. So, what can we do with all this information? Here's an example of how to target the 3 personas I highlighted. You can combine demographic inputs with a custom app and site targeting matrix in addition to relevant keywords, such as what you see here. As you know, the interests and discriminants of the personas, you can leverage data-informed inputs in your targeting setup and be more relevant with your brand's messaging. This ensures that you are sharing the right message with the right audience, as they each have different needs, therefore must be communicated with differently. To summarize, mobile video will continue growing. This presents a significant opportunity for marketers to interactively engage with their audiences. It's extremely important for brands to incorporate a strategic video strategy into their campaigns. Also, brands should leverage insights to better understand their audience and inform their media strategies. I'll now unshare my screen and welcome my panelists to turn on their cameras. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, Shannon, Catherine, and Mike. I'm really excited about our panel. We've done some great panels with the Ad Club in the past, which have all been vertical focused. I'm really excited for this conversation as each of you come from 3 very different verticals and can offer different perspectives and thoughts surrounding your media efforts, which I think will be extremely beneficial for all of us that are dialed into this webinar. So why don't we kick off the chat by introducing yourself and each of your roles. Also, we're chatting specifically about video. So why don't you let us know what your favorite viral video is? I'll go first. So I'm Allison Port, Senior Sales Director here at Ogury. I oversee and lead our Dentsu partnership specifically. And my favorite viral video currently is the Beauty and the Beast parody March Again by Jimmy Fallon and John Legend. How about you, Catherine?
Hi everybody, and thank you, Ad Council, for having me here today. Let's see, I'm Catherine Ernest. I work for MasterCard, and my role is I oversee the U.S. Digital Marketing and Media. My favorite viral video, I actually don't have a specific name for it, but probably you've seen it because it was extremely popular right when COVID hit. There was a news anchor trying to deliver the news from home, and he got photobombed, not knowing it, by one child live on camera. And then came another one in one of those little scooter things, and the mom comes in thinks that she's not being watched, and she's trying to shuffle them out of the door. So I have to say, I think I watched that one over and over again. It was great.
Oh, that was great. And Shannon, how about you?
Hi, I'm Shannon Haydell. I'm really happy to be here as well. Looking forward to this conversation. I work in global brand media for hotels.com, and with a primary focus in driving awareness against the brand. My favorite video, there's this musician / artist named Lubalin, and he did this series of turning random internet drama into songs, and it is hysterical. I think Jimmy Kimmel even did a part of it with Alison Brie, and part 2 is my absolute favorite. So he just takes some really funny internet discourse and turns it into a song. It's hysterical.
I definitely need to check that out. Thank you so much, Shannon. And Mike?
Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Hazelberg. I'm the omni-channel marketing lead here at Kings Hawaiian. I oversee all the customer marketing and shopper marketing activations, as well as all of our e-retail executions. And I also have to admit, as much as I wish I was in Hawaii, I'm actually out here in sunny California, but I'm always in an aloha state of mind. My favorite viral video of the last year is the one of I believe he's a Texas attorney or a lawyer with a cat filter on his face, which I think does a wonderful job of highlighting the absurdities we've all had to go through with Zoom meetings over the past year. So that's probably my favorite of recent.
I love it. I love the Aloha state of mind. But you know what? Sunny California is not a bad close second, if you will. All right. So before we kick it off, I was thinking it might be fun to get some interactive engaging with the audience with a quick poll. So I'm going to ask the audience, would you prefer to receive video or display ads from brands? Give everyone a second. All right, let's see the results. Oh, and my hunch was right. 67% would prefer a video to a display. All right, one more, and then we can hop into it. Do you think video would be your primary source of information? All right, let's see the results. Interesting, almost more of a 50-50 split. All right, very interesting. All right, so I am going to kick this off. Few questions to start that I thought would be interesting to actually hear from all of you. But we can start with Mike. Why don't we start with you? You know, we know the past year has been quite a roller coaster. So let's just jump straight into discussing some challenges you've encountered. So what would you say are the main challenges that you've had to face with regard to your media efforts? And how did you overcome some of those challenges?
Oh, absolutely. I think for us, and probably similar for most of those in the CPG world, especially in the grocery space, the challenge was we knew people were shifting their behaviors to more online purchases, but certainly the pandemic more than accelerated that. And so everybody was a little caught behind. King Hawaiian's been a bit more traditional in their approach to media. So it was really a bit of a scramble, which is part of the reason I came on board to Kings Hawaiian, was just to help stand up their digital presence and how we think about more of that 360 approach. So for us, it was really about shifting our focus to make sure we had a digital first mindset, and we're showing up best in class when it came to how we were viewed by our consumers and others in the digital landscape. So everything from the blocking and tackling and making sure our products look good on different product pages, but as well as tailoring our communication so that we knew as our consumers are shifting their habits more online, we need to make sure we always hit them with the most relevant information of where they're going to help inspire them and also provide whatever solutions we can offer with our product line.
Yeah, no, that's great. I feel like that will also lend itself to some of the other questions that we have for the panel. So that was wonderful. Catherine, how about you for MasterCard?
Sure. So similar to what Mike said, we really had to take a look, I would say, at the customer journey and where we could speak to them with their shifting on how they were consuming media. And an example I would give to that is we had a everyday spend campaign, which was predominantly focused on travel and transit. So think subway station dominations, takeovers, things like that. And we had to quickly shift and pivot and think about, okay, what is another passion of that we have of MasterCard that we can lean into in this new environment? And we ended up choosing culinary, but not from the restaurant dining out at restaurants, but dining in. So the e-commerce, like Mike referenced, the grocery delivery, delivery meal kits, home cooking and recipes. So we did a shift from our everyday spend of travel and transit to culinary. We also had to shift, which I assume many other companies did. We had in-person experiences planned that we had to take online and push out virtually. We also had challenge with sports because we lean in heavily with golf and baseball, and with canceled games and reduced schedules, it became very challenging and had to think more about how do we, with less, call it supply, how do we really integrate ourselves? So I would say those were the two main, the sports and the customer journey.
I love how you really brought into the culinary aspect of it. You know, we're all at home, we have to cook our meals. Let's make this fun. Let's make this something engaging with the consumer. Shannon, would love to hear from you.
Yeah, so we're a travel company, which, as you guys can imagine, was a little bit difficult around this time last year as travel kind of went down to zero globally. So, you know, on top of that, what was a challenge for us from a marketing standpoint was understanding when and where it was socially appropriate to talk about travel. So even if we had, you know, as we're trying to sort of find our options to get out of a lot of the media at the beginning of the pandemic, we had to also understand when is it appropriate to get back in, and quickly realizing that fluctuated frequently over the course. I mean, it's still happening globally, of when and where can we get back in and be responsible and socially appropriate in talking about travel. So it was really important for us. You know, we have a pretty good handle on the travel landscape and that angle of it, but just understanding the consumer mindset was really important for us. And so not only did we have to work really closely with our creative team to quickly pivot and start developing new creative, because talking about traveling wherever you want wasn't an appropriate topic anymore. We had to lean heavily on our media agency, MediaCom, as well, to help us understand the very quickly shifting consumer behaviors and mindsets, just in terms of where they were consuming media and how they think about travel.
Absolutely. I mean, very sensitive, and just kind of making sure that you are playing and addressing the market in the sensitive way and compassionate way is definitely something super important.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of video, you know, how big of a role does video play in your digital strategy? Shannon, I don't know if you want to kind of continue.
Sure. So I work specifically on the brand marketing side of the hotels.com business. So for us, video is the majority presence in what we plan and where we plan. So very, very big.
Great. Mike, how about you for King's Hawaiian?
King's Hawaiian, for us, especially within my world with Omni, we use it more targeted to help us overcome some of our barriers to purchase and really help drive that awareness piece as well as help drive that call to action where to find us in store. So we layered in there appropriately along that shopper journey where we can, where we feel it's going to be the most engaging with our consumers, where they're whether they're in their learn, plan, or shop phase.
Okay, great. And Catherine?
So same. I mean, we lean heavily into video, budget allowing, of course. And you know, it's one of the formats that's the most impactful and engaging. So, and it truly can allow you to tell a story. So when we can, we utilize video.
Okay, great. And then I actually had a question specific to that. How has MasterCard utilized mobile video to drive consumer engagement?
To drive consumer engagement. Well, recently, actually, we launched a campaign on TikTok, which we had used TikTok before as a platform, but never to launch a huge campaign. This was in the US and in the UK. And it was surrounding, we made an announcement, I guess sometime last year, that we were getting behind helping the environment and committed to planting over 100 million trees over the next 5 years. So we thought TikTok might be a great place to help drive some donations and help get this word out. So we went to TikTok with a brainstorm on how can we create a wonderful message. And we ended up using some of their more popular creators in the sustainability space of their vertical on TikTok, and utilize a tool, I don't know how familiar you are, called the branded effect, where as you made your video, trees, forests grew behind you as you did your tree pose. And it was extremely successful. We had the CTR to the donation widget exceeded benchmarks, as well as the engagement metrics. So we were super excited about it. And we did this around Earth Day. So it was all relevant and the timing was great. And I think that helped reinforce the messaging and the engagement that was brought to the platform. But
that's wonderful. Okay, I have some questions actually for you specifically, for each of you specifically, and I'm going to kind of hop around a little bit. Shannon, so one for you. You know, hotels.com really values the consumer experience across the entire purchase journey. How do you ensure a quality experience with your advertising efforts?
So, And I think Mike would agree, considering it's in his title, but we look at video planning holistically, and we try to follow the consumer versus sort of breaking budgets and siloing them by platform. And that's tended to work really well for us for a couple of reasons. One, because we have such a close relationship with our creative counterparts at hotels.com and working with our creative agencies, we're able to early on in the media planning process align which platforms we're considering based off of those consumer behaviors and consumer consumption habits, and develop the right creative for it, so that we're not putting a TV spot in a Instagram story or what have you. We're aligning the message and the platform together. So we've seen some, and as we test that, we've seen some really positive results there. And then kind of on the testing topic, that's the other area that we really strive for, because we are a higher funnel channel within hotels.com and looking at more of the awareness driving type of media. Being able to measure that is increasingly and definitely important to us. And it can be a challenge globally, but understanding how those different components work together or independently to help drive our metrics is very important to us, and finding those measurement solutions, something we're constantly doing. So if anybody has any hot ideas, let me know.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, building creative for the platform that it's being served on is so important. I remember when I first moved into the mobile space many moons ago. I'm not even going to mention how many years ago at this point. But it was just, everyone was repurposing these TV spots that were meant to be seen on these enormous, 50-inch screens onto these small devices. And it was terrible. So I'm actually very glad to hear that. Okay, so how about Catherine? MasterCard has pledged $500 million to help close the racial wealth and opportunity gap for Black communities and businesses across America. Can you share how utilizing video has helped in these efforts and what the company has planned in the future?
Sure. So we made that announcement last year, and then in first quarter of this year, we actually utilized a new brand ambassador, Jennifer Hudson, to help us get that message out. We predominantly focused on female, Black, small business owners, Black, female, and trying to use video in multiple capacities. We use short form to actually curtail the individual stories of the business owners and have a personal aspect. We use long form video to actually give the details of the program, the whole MasterCard program. It had many facets. An example would be taking a brick and mortar shop and how do you make it e-commerce and bring it online. So we have many tools in MasterCard to help these small business owners and to help them have a voice. And video gave us that storytelling ability and gave us the ability to let them have the narrative. We also leaned in heavily, like the channels we used a variety. We did, CTV, we utilized programmatic, diverse and non-diverse. We partnered with Black-owned media companies, Blavity, we did integrations with. So we actually utilized video in many, many formats across the board, and it really resonated well. So what we have in the future, we are currently identifying opportunities with diverse creators and ... I'll leave it at that and wait for late summer.
I love a little tease. Very exciting. I mean, it sounds like a truly amazing initiative that you are leading, and I can't imagine how proud you must be to be the one behind that effort.
Yeah, it's a very important effort. So I'm glad to be a part of it. Definitely.
Absolutely. And also, by the way, I do want to encourage, keep this conversational. If Mike, Shannon, if ever you guys want to hop in, it doesn't have to just kind of be me asking the questions. Definitely, I'm sure the audience would love to hear your feedback on each of your answers. So by all means, I encourage. But just to start, so Mike, how do you leverage video in the omni-channel marketing strategy? I know obviously that is the number one thing that you focus on, with it, being in your title. Can your brand videos be easily modified from big screens to small screens?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely. And for us, I think, as we think about Omni and as the other guests have mentioned, really think of that holistic view about how we're engaging with our consumer along the different parts of their path to purchase, and make sure that we're, as we're developing and creating the content from the outset, we always, you kind of shift from that mobile first mindset to mobile always. It has to be engaged and capable and flexible to live on those mobile platforms, knowing that consumers are consuming most of their media there. We definitely have recognized that fact and made sure not only are we catering towards it, we're leading with it so that not only does the content look great, it's being tailored to the moment where they're in. So whether they're at home, whether they're in a store, whether they're searching recipes, we're hopefully targeting them and providing them the most contextually relevant media that we can. So, for example, if they're searching recipes or in that, call it learn mindset, we try and target them with an inspirational, irresistible recipe that showcases, call it our broader line, beyond the role that everyone tends to know and love, to showcase that, hey, we have hamburger buns and sandwich bread too, and give them some something that can break through the noise and inspire them in their journey. And then as they're shifting their mindset over to that plan and shopping, whether we're driving them through that video or through another touch point, again, we're tailoring that message and leveraging the content so that it's easily interactable and visible on mobile, and that they can move that down the purchase funnel, whether it's taking the friction out with a shop now or buy it now kind of a button, or offering them the right incentive to continue to kind of move down that shopper journey. And then I think the last way we try and do it is, for us at King's Wine, we're always trying to find new and interesting ways to engage with our consumer and delight them. So, things going in store, going back to the old QR code and trying to get them to pull out their phone. We initially we used to think the QR code was going to go the way of the dodo, but now it's everywhere, especially with
Every
COVID.
restaurant.
Yeah, everywhere.
People are now programmed to just whip out their phone, and with the fact that you don't have to download the app, and it's made even more seamless, we can now encourage that interaction at display or in store or even through an email, wherever they're at. We can leverage that to help, again, drive them into that mobile experience where they can learn more about our products, get more solutions or offers as they see fit, and help them stay within our ecosphere that we can, and offer them points of delight or points of solution in their meal planning and product selection.
If I could add, I think one of the things that we've had to adapt to that's been harder than I guess we thought is the idea, as more video viewing is shifting to mobile devices, the time that you have to tell the story is condensing, and your ability to make an impact is a shorter period of time. And it might be more periods of time, but the individual contact points tend to be shorter. And again, working on the brand side of the business, that's a hard pill to swallow, because we, believe in our brand and we want to communicate certain things and really make an impact. And to do that in a 6-second versus a 30 or what, however, is hard. And so I think it's been an interesting balance for us as, coming from the media perspective and looking at the data and saying this needs to be shorter, we need to be snappier, but then also coming from the creative perspective saying, but I want to tell a story and I want to make an impact, and like finding that good balance. It can be tricky, but it's been really exciting over the past few years to find those ways in shorter snippets of time.
Snackable content.
Yes.
I completely hear you. Catherine, I wasn't sure if you have anything to kind of add or.
No, I think they both did a great job of covering it.
Great. So another one that I thought might be interesting is how have you been leaning into your agencies and ad tech partners for support? I'd love to hear this actually from all of you. I'm sure many of those on the phone are dialing in from, other platforms or agencies, and would love to hear this.
Sure, I can start. I think I peeped a couple of my agency team members on the call, so I'll give them a good shout out. But again, like I said before, for us, it's just every time we're ready to either re-enter the market, or we need to understand what, we know from a travel or, government regulation standpoint that things are shifting. We turn to our agency to help us understand what's the right way to go back in, or what's the right way to evolve our plan. In the past, we've typically looked at more of an annual planning process and then kind of finalize things tactically on a quarterly level. that's laughably slow these days. And, looking at even just every other week, checking in and making sure that what we have planned is still relevant and making sense and aligns with the creative assets that we have, et cetera. It's just a very accelerated, frequent planning process, which is something that we have tried to avoid pre-pandemic because we wanted to be more consistent. So having our agency help us keep those guardrails in place from a media strategy standpoint and ensure that as opportunities arise and as consumer behavior shift, we still have the right focus and vision is vital for us. And we're really grateful to have MediaCom help us keep our eyes focused and our path forward clear.
That's great. Mike, did you want to maybe take the?
Absolutely. I think we've had a unique new learning experience this year as we've worked closely with our media partners to help overcome our brand objectives. So one of our unique things about the King's Hawaiian brand is it's typically not sold in the bread aisle, which works okay for our roles, but when you want to tell people about your hamburger buns or sliced bread, almost 90% of people almost always just shop the bread aisle. So telling them to go to their deli bakery is a big challenge for us and getting that message out. So we took that to our media partners, in particular worked with Zapper and Haymaker, our two big agencies this year to help us overcome that findability problem. And what we came to the conclusion of what we're trying on right now, hopefully you might start seeing activations come live, is we're running a sweepstakes where we're encouraging people to physically find us in store, and they can basically get points for interacting with us and finding us in store or seeking us out online wherever they can. But the goal being it's really a neat, fun engagement that leverages kind of a breakthrough, cutting edge augmented reality technology. Again, stepping in to do something a little bit different, taking a traditional sweeps, but building on it in a sense that really is aiming to solve a pain point for us and hopefully a point of solution or point of delight for consumers who either generally know about our brand but don't know about the broader portfolio and can't find it, or want to have a unique engagement with the brand that they already like, where they can go in and leverage this new technology. I know AR is not so new, but it's still newish, and it's certainly our first time dabbling in it. Hopefully that ability to go with that cutting edge and breakthrough technology, coupled with really shouting and echoing it from a national media and having that same consistent message all the way down throughout the omni journey. So we've got, from a national lens, we've got our brand ambassador and Guy Fieri singing it on national television to showing the shipper saying, go find the shipper and win the sweepstakes, all the way down to as people go through their journey, that same continuous message all the way till they get to the display, and they're again encouraged to interact in a very seamless and fun way. We're hoping that will help us, again, drive that findability, increase our awareness. But it really comes down to this tight, close-knit leverage that we've got with our media partners as we develop this campaign. It definitely required a lot of cross-collaboration and thoughtful execution with how we communicate this and how we bring it to life. So we're getting to see that come together this year in unique ways, and really excited for the first time in kind of King's Hawaiian history to really shift our focus away from the role and really push it into our broader portfolio. So it's a good chance for us to see how this works, and something we've really leaned in hard with our media and agency expert partners. Wow,
that sounds amazing. Can I ask what the prize is for the sweepstakes? Is that public knowledge yet?
Oh, absolutely. No, by all means, head online to say hello summersweeps.com if you want to see it. A little brand plug, or go find it in store and play it for yourself. But no, the grand prize is a trip to Hawaii, which we all need right about now, as well as several thousand other prizes that we're going to be giving away each week. So again, a really fun, nice way to engage with our consumers and give people a fun incentive as we're coming through hopefully the end of this pandemic.
Oh, that's awesome. And I mean, the background of your screen is really just making me A, hungry, and B, want a beach. So I'm very conflicted. Catherine, would love to hear from you about the relationship with the advertising agencies.
So the advertising agency that we use from a media standpoint is Kara. And I would say that they're part of the team. I mean, I'm on the phone with them pretty much daily. They're true partners. They've leaned in such a time of shifting and changing, scenario planning and redo and scratch that and go back again. And so I just really want to say a big thank you to them. How we've leaned in this time is two different ways, I would say, that are slightly different from just not being repetitive of what Mike and Shannon said. I'm a big proponent of the test and learn. I have from always been a believer, just you've got to try it. Even if you fail, you know, it works for your brand. You have more learnings than you had before you started. So I really, we as a team here have pushed on Kara to bring new partners, bring new ideas, what's on the cutting edge. It may or may not work, but let's see if let's test it and find out. So they have been great about that. Also, we kicked off really wanting to dive into the consumer and who we wanted to speak to, who is our target, who are we really trying to talk to? And about 6 to 8 months ago, started uncovering this with Kara leading the helm. So we leaned on them heavily for that and actually figured out through not just demo, but behavior and psychographics, and came up with this MasterCard target, you might say. Now, obviously targeting can shift via campaign, but it's now our core, and we understand it, and we understand what drives them. We understand what companies they migrate to, and what kind of mission statements might be behind where they buy and things like that. And Kara really helped lead the strategy on that. And so I would say those were two, you know, from trying new things, new partnerships, and targeting in this shifting consumer landscape. It's just been in media landscape.
I mean, I would
really
say testing is increasingly, it's always been important for us, but increasingly so, because I feel like most of the insights we have pre-pandemic are not relevant anymore.
Well, it's not the new normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. By the way, fun fact, Kara was my first job out of grad school. So
really?
I have a soft spot in my heart for Kara.
I was going to say, well, so I lead the Dentsu relationship, and we actually are working on the Everyday Spend Stand Up to Cancer campaign. And I know how hard that team works, and they are, I mean, they're so passionate and care so much. And I will say, you know, they appreciate the shout out, and I hope they're on here, and definitely deserve all the credit.
Agreed.
All right, so moving into the next one, maybe a couple more, and then we can kick it over to Q&A with the audience. I know we actually received a couple questions from the audience prior to the call, and I was going to try and find those. Here they are. How are you thinking about competitive conquesting with mobile and mobile videos specifically? So an off the cuff one from the audience.
That's a tough one because, well, I'm thinking of, you know, I've been at different brands in my past, and depending on your brand positioning is how you deal with conquesting, right? True guerrilla marketing, you go after it. Or then there's some where you know that so-and-so owns the NFL, you maybe shouldn't go there. I mean, it's also respectful boundaries. So when thinking of MasterCard, we always want to not necessarily go after conquesting and trying to, you know, elbow our way into a space, but we think more about the passions of the consumer and trying to talk to them and give them experiences or messaging while they're interacting with that passion. So we come from a passion-based marketing perspective and goal, which is kind of the opposite of conquest marketing. So I really don't see us taking a strong stance in mobile video with conquesting.
I'd agree. I would say we have a similar approach, finding the space for our brand and building our brand voice and our brand positioning versus the straight conquesting, although we're an OTA, so it's, you know, it's a street fight every day, right? In digital and in online. But from a brand standpoint, it's more about the positioning and finding that space for us to tell our message and to kind of position ourselves.
Right.
I would just add in from a different perspective, Kings Hawaiians definitely call it a fighter brand within the broader bread category. So while we may be a big player in the rolls, we're nowhere near where we could be potentially from a share size in categories like sliced bread and hamburger buns. So for us, we look to do it through all our different medias by trying to find unique ways to break through and get out in front, get out of our traditional aisle. One, to drive awareness, but two, try and make our voice and punch above our weight class. Where we can, make our voice louder than our normal share of voice. So hence we try and do things that maybe our competitor brands aren't, that lean into. We will do a Super Bowl ad every now and then just to break through the noise. We will do an AR campaign that our traditional competitors may play it safer, more traditional. So as the fighter brand, we do try and take maybe bigger steps outside of the norm within our category to break through that noise and try and get a little more recognition and awareness.
This is great. I'm going to encourage the audience to please submit any questions that you have for our panelists through the Q&A. And I'll do one more maybe from the list that we have, as well as one of the ones that we have from the audience prior. So how does mobile video converge with TV investments for maximum efficiency?
I think particularly now, during, in the midst of and post-pandemic, the shifts that we're seeing away from traditional linear TV consumption really accelerated, and some of the sort of 2 or 3 year plans we have for more of a shift into either connected TV or more mobile type of video inventory, I feel like has accelerated pretty quickly. And then conversely, because there's still this linear TV demand and the supply is diminishing either from ratings or what have you, it's getting more expensive and more it limits our ability to use linear TV as our primary reach driving medium. And so for us, again, that sort of cross-channel video approach has always been a priority. But as we've seen these shifts happen from a consumer consumption standpoint, we are pretty quickly shifting to what are some of those other digital options, and mobile video is absolutely a part of that. We have a very large partnership with Google and YouTube, and then as well as leaning pretty heavily into the connected TV, OTT kind of FEP space.
Well, we love to hear that. Catherine, how about your perspective on this?
I'm going to echo Shannon. We're leaning more into definitely streaming and our OTT partners. And however, linear still will play an important part for MasterCard. It gives us such great scale and reach. We have found through many of our brand studies that TV coupled with mobile video resonates even more. So we will continue down that path, but Shannon touched on a great point, which is the price has just, especially if you buy scatter, has gone through the roof. So I think it's up something, I shouldn't say numbers, but like 75% if I remember correctly. So TV will still be a part of the MasterCard plan, obviously, but video, mobile video, and some of the other platforms will continue to grow for us.
Great. Mike, I wasn't sure if you have anything.
Nothing of value to add. I think the only different perspective from Kings Wine, again, is given where we are at in our brand building journey and awareness in general, TV will still play a big role for us in just building that brand awareness. But it's continually shifting as we grow and grow it as a more mature brand out in the market. And we are seeing that same shift over to more of a digital first mindset. So, but really it is an ever changing landscape, and certainly having all the same battles and shifts that everyone else is doing.
Great. I'm going to take some questions from the audience. So this is actually definitely something that's interesting. Is programmatic buying becoming a bigger part of your mobile strategy? Shannon, maybe?
Sure. We in-housed our programmatic buying a few years ago, and it continues to grow globally in scope and scale. So it definitely is a major part, if not a majority part, of our mobile buying strategy. Yeah, short answer.
So the answer is yes. I mean, we are continually, so I've been at MasterCard 14 months, a few weeks before COVID, let's put it that way. It all blurs together.
You are a true COVID baby.
Yes. So we we are continuing to get behind programmatic, and with each campaign, the percentage of the 360 campaign continues to grow. And I'm a believer in programmatic, so I just think it's a very efficient way to buy. And so we will continue focusing on that and leveraging it.
Mike?
Ditto. And
great minds think alike.
yeah, I think you know, again, the ever-changing landscape. I think again, looking for the ways to be the most efficient with our buys is the direction we're heading at, and certainly having the same mindset as Catherine and Shannon when it comes to programmatic buying.
And it's come a long way, and there's a lot of, I mean, even just the partners that we can buy programmatically have increased. And I mean, I think that there's a lot of opportunity and growth in that realm. I mean, even looking at the OTT world now, I mean, it's definitely an area that we want to continue to grow.
What are your thoughts, and this is actually a question myself have, what are your thoughts on an approach to an identifier-less, cookie-less world with the changes of iOS 14.5, the deprecation of the cookie, and Android likely going the same way as Apple with the death of the identifier?
This is a hot topic today. I had an 8 a.m. meeting surrounding it. We're still, I'll just be honest, we're still trying to figure it out. I will say that one of the things that we are going to be testing is we're looking to partner where the consumer will be in charge of their own data. So there are companies out there, and we're looking to potentially test that with an American Airlines campaign that we have in the fall. And if not that one, another one. But that's with privacy becoming such a hot topic, it makes the death of the cookie, obviously targeting makes our job more difficult, but we have to listen to what the consumer tells us. And if this is what they want and they want to control their data, then we have to be respectful of that. And it's our job to figure out how to do that. And there's partners and companies out there that are going more in that direction, and we're leaning into that. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Again, it's a test. We don't have all the answers, but we're formulating a plan and understanding the implications right now as we speak.
Yeah, some of the initial stats I saw was only 4% of Apple users are actually opting into the app tracking. So it's pretty clear that consumers no longer want to have their data, tracked across the internet. So having a future-proof, identifier-less, cookie-less solution is definitely super important. One of the other ones, we have a lot of young professionals in the ad club. Any advice to them, entering into the marketing, workplace and workforce?
I would say don't be afraid to speak up. I think early in my career, you tend to defer to your superiors, and I think it's important to hear all voices. And if you have an idea about a direction, speak up. If you see something that you feel like is inappropriate, speak up. I mean, I think it's really important to have all voices represented and heard. So that's my first piece of advice, is just don't be afraid to speak up. It's not as scary as you think. And then the second thing is just continue to be, I mean, it feels, I started out the same year YouTube launched, which kind of dates me, but you can kind of get a respect for the fragmentation that has happened at breakneck speed, and just sort of understanding where things are going and getting kind of a head and handle around the landscape as it continues to rapidly change, I think is the other area, because that's something as somebody who started in advertising and shifted over to marketing, that's really, really helpful for me in partnering with our advertising partners is getting that insight and being able to help, move our business forward and be progressive.
Yeah. I mean, I second that. It has to do with speaking up, but I'm a firm believer in going with your gut. And it's okay to change your mind. I mean, I would have never thought I would end up in media. I was a poli-sci major with a minor in English, studying for the LSAT. I mean, I was going to be an attorney. Hello, this cannot be more opposite of that. And I started working for a restaurant company part-time as they were opening up a restaurant and needed media and digital presence. And then the rest is history. I never took the LSAT. I had no idea that my career would go this way. And my point is, so some people make decisions and you feel like you have to stick with it. It's okay to change your mind. Listen to your gut, follow your interests, you know, do what makes you happy. And it's, even if you studied one thing and you think, well, I invested all that time and that education, it's still try it. If you don't like it, you can always go back to the other. But that's my 2 cents for anyone just starting out.
I love that. I love that. You can change your mind. It's okay to change your mind. I feel like a lot of people forget that, and life is fluid and it ebbs and flows, and just do what feels right in the moment.
Exactly.
Great advice. I'll build on that, which is don't be afraid to take different chances within marketing. There are many different paths within route, and coming out of more of a traditional MBA program and brand marketing, you're kind of put on one path, and then amazingly, I was given opportunities to stand up channel marketing and learn about e-commerce, and then shift into digital and shopper, and so now, you know, being able to have build that professional toolkit is a blast. For one, every day is different. Every day is a new adventure. You're continually learning, continually challenging yourself, which is a wonderful thing professionally. But it also gives you opportunities to go different directions and learn new things and build new areas. So getting into shopper marketing versus brand marketing, I would just say don't be afraid to take chances and try different things. Expose yourself to all different areas of marketing, different verticals where you can get into them, because each one has something very special and unique to offer.
Well, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. I know I've certainly learned quite a lot, and I'm sure everyone on this call also has. And a huge thank you to everyone for dialing into this webinar. I'm going to pass it back over to Alicia.
Hi again. Wow. So many amazing insights. Thank you so much for sharing, especially at the end for our young pros. I can't tell you how valuable that is for them. And we will share this content after via an email to attendees, and also on our website, because this is great intel to share, especially the insights. Thank you, Ogury, for always being an incredible partner. And look forward to the other events we have coming up on the advertisingclub.org. I'm going to make a King's Hawaiian sandwich, book my trip to Hawaii on hotels.com with my MasterCard now, and hope you all do the same.
Nice. Love it.
Please stay in touch, stay connected with the club. We're for members by members, and we look forward to staying in touch with all of you. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.